Okay, on this next video, we're going to look at the last of the 4 CDs, which is the ones that contain the forms, surveys, and handouts. So let's take a peek inside. Now again, we're looking at a view which is called the thumbnail view. If it looks like this, it's on the icon view. Simply go to your view and thumbnails. And let's take a peek at what we have inside. Now, what we have inside are different handouts, forms, and surveys. Now, I'm just going to slide the medication calculation over to the headache checklist because the checklist, the medication calculator, the headache diary daily, weekly, let me slide that one over, weekly and monthly. These are different handouts that you're going to use along with the Tyramine diet handout as part of your handouts for the actual workshop. So again, we have the headache checklist. This one is the one that you're going to give out along with the other handouts during the beginning of the workshop. Now, we recommend that you place the handouts, which again are the checklist, medication calculator, the headache diaries, and the Tyramine diet for headaches. We recommend that you place these in a nice presentation folder, which is basically one of those folders that you can open up and they have flaps on both sides. You can place the contents behind those flaps with a nice little welcome letter to the event. You can put that on the left-hand side with maybe the 16-page headache magazine behind that, and then all the handouts on the left. So again, presentation folder opens up. On the left-hand side facing, you have a welcome to the event letter. Behind that, you have your 16-page headache magazine. On the right-hand side of the presentation folder, you have all of your handouts, and you have them in this order. Checklist, medication calculator, then your daily, weekly, monthly headache diaries, and then finally the low Tyramine diet for headaches. So these right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 6 forms right here are your handouts. Okay? Now let's look at each one of those individually. The headache checklist is very, very nice. You're going to hand this one out. They're going to fill out their name and the workshop date. And what's very cool about this particular handout is that as you go along in the workshop, they are going through and they're checking the box off for any of the types of headaches that they have. You probably see very well now that this is a very, very powerful checklist because they're going to check off, for example, man, I've got a cervicogenic headache, I have postural headaches, I have food allergies to aspartame and to red wine and aged cheese, which contain tyramine. I also have myofascial trigger points, and when you do the mini workshop, you'll see how powerful this set of 7 trigger points are. And then also they might have a blood sugar headache or some other type of headache that you review. So this checklist is very, very powerful. Also, this one line right here with a single checkbox is very powerful because this is the check that they're going to make when they say, I am interested in choosing you, Dr. Corbo, as part of my headache resolution team, and I would like to come into your office to go through your headache resolution system, which basically is any system that you would use in your office to help patients overcome their headaches. So here is the power of the checklist. Finally, there's a nice little space right down here for your attendees in the audience to list anybody they'd like to refer to your office. Very, very powerful part of the system. The next piece is the headache medication calculation. You will find that this form in and of itself is a paradigm shifter. As you go through the workshop, you'll see that this particular slide that goes over the medication calculation, very powerful. The top half is the exact same information that you're going to go through on the slide. The bottom half is what you go through after going through this example. Then the audience fills this part out for themselves. And as you will see, in fact, why don't I just do this? Why don't I go ahead and open up the workshop, which is found on disc number 1. I'll open up the abbreviated version. And we'll go ahead and we'll look at the easel format, as you know. And as these slides load on, we will go ahead and pick the medication calculation form. And I'll show you exactly what I mean and show you where this particular form is, which is right here. I'm going to double click this slide in the easel format. If you double click it, it'll then give you this view. Okay? So when you're filling out this particular form, doing the actual PowerPoint, this right here, this icon is for a slideshow. If you click this, it'll be the actual slideshow. So you're going to take your patient through this form, and you're going to go step by step through this form, and you're going to actually fill out this form as an example for your patients. So as you can see, this contains the same information that you see on your medication calculation form. And so when you're done with this particular example, and I'll minimize that, when you're done with this particular example, you then have the audience fill out the bottom half for themselves. This is an eye-opening exercise, and what you'll find is that your average headache sufferer is taking anywhere from 750,000 milligrams or more of over-the-counter NSAIDs. It's a very, very powerful part of the system, and will change their paradigm right then and there instantaneously as they realize that medication is not a solution for headaches. So let me go back to disc number 4, and we've just reviewed the checklist and the medication calculator. The next 3, which are the daily, weekly, and monthly headache diaries, these 3 are really FYI for more information for them. They can utilize these different types of headache diaries and go through these when they're having a headache. Very, very powerful. As part of the system, we also talk about that. If we look at the workshop, you'll see as we get down to the bottom here, this particular slide shows the headache diary. And so when you get to this part of the slide, you can just alert your audience that inside your folder, your presentation folder, they have those 3 handouts, again, which are daily, weekly, and monthly headache diary handouts. Finally, the last handout is the low tyramine diet for people that suffer from headaches. And you'll see this is a 2-page PDF front and back. Very, very important information because it reviews all the information on low tyramine diet, tyramine diets for those people that suffer from headaches. Very powerful because as you'll see in the PowerPoint, when you look at some of the headache triggers, and I'll just open up that, one of the headache triggers. Now this looks kind of funky, but that's the way it is until you put it on the PowerPoint view, which is clicking this button. And what you'll see is as you click one of these at a time, you're going to go through each of the triggers one at a time, and you can see aged cheese contains tyramine, and so does red wine. So when you get to this part of here of the presentation, just let your audience know that inside your handouts, you have the low tyramine diet. Very, very powerful information. So again, the checklist, the medication calculator, the headache diaries daily, weekly, and monthly, and the low tyramine diet for headaches. These are your handouts which we recommend would go on the right side of your presentation folder. Now, the final 2 pieces of information in disc number 4, this one here is your headache sign-up sheet. This is a nice piece of the system, one of those overlooked pieces sometimes, but very important. Basically what you want to do is print these out, put them on a clipboard, and put them on the front desk. So again, anytime somebody wants to sign up for the workshop and bring a guest, very, very important, they'll just simply sign their name and add the number of guests that they're going to bring to the workshop. And you'll have to know in advance how many guests your office can accommodate. And once you get up to that particular number of guests, and go a little bit over because sometimes there's people that will not be able to make it, you're going to go ahead and total those up and then close out that particular workshop. Make sense? Very powerful piece of information. And then finally, we have our headache survey form. And this is a 2-sided survey form, front and back. And this is one of those surveys that you can do inside and outside your office for people that suffer from headaches. Very, very good information. Very straightforward, easy to fill out. And this is a lot of great information to gather on your patients that are suffering from headaches. Also, if you do any surveys at malls or health fairs or those types of things, very, very powerful information. So that's the headache survey. So that rounds out everything that's in your headache disc number 4. Very powerful information. And I'm going to close that down. And that's the end of this particular video going over disc number 4.